Max, you're muted. You're still muted.
Hey guys, sorry. So we actually got a current stock price of 269.23.
That's the price in year 9. That's not the price today. So
Okay.
if that's Ben, if that's the price in year 9, what would the price be today?
In year, so then just the, wait, the company will pay a dividend per, so is that saying that it's after year 9, they're paying it for another 10 years and at that date, or year 10 is, because I got for year 10, the 269.23, but then I did it for the next year and I got 284.04.
Yeah, actually the 269 is in year 9 because we start growing at a constant rate in year 10, so we can find the price the year before. And then we have to discount that back to today. So, okay, so let's look and see how we did this. Okay, so we're going to get nothing for 9 years. So that'd be a whole lot of zeros. Then in year 10, they'll pay a dividend of $17.50, and it's going to increase by 5.5% thereafter. Thereafter is your key word that you can use your dividend model because we've got constant growth. Required return is 12%. So what are we going to do? Well, if we start growing at a constant rate in year 10, that means we can find the price in year 9. So the price in year 9 is the dividend in year 10 of $17.50 divided by the required return of 12% minus 5.5%. And when we do that, that's that 269.23. Okay? Again, it's the price in year 9 equals the dividend in year 10 divided by the required return minus the growth rate. And that gets us 269.23. And that's good. That's what we would pay for it in year 9. But I want to know what I'll pay for it today. So then you go back to thinking about, okay, so I'm going to get this 269.23 out there in the future, 9 years out, and I'm requiring a return of 12%. There's no payment, so I can compute a present value of 97.09. Now let me go through and do that one again. So we get 0. So if we think about it in terms of timeline, we'd have 9 zeros in a row. And in year 10, we have 17.50. And then it's going to start growing at a constant rate forever. So we can find the price in year 9 based on the dividend in year 10 of 17.50 divided by R minus G. The required return is 12% and the growth rate is 5.5%. That gives me a price in year 9 of 269.23. It's great. So I know what I'd pay for it in year 12. In year 9. I want to know what I'll pay for it today. So if I have a 269 price in year 9, that's a future value. There's no payments between now and then. My discount rate's 12%, and I can compute a present value of 97.09. What questions do you have on that one? Kind of okay? Does it make sense?
Sorry, what was the formula that you put into Excel?
Which part? The
future value.
Okay. So I'm solving for the present value equals present value. My rate is 12%. My N per is 9. My payment is 0, and my future value is 269.23. So you're doing an equals PV formula. I want to know price today, and I know some dollar amount out there in the future. You get it, Mallory?
Yes, got it. Thank you.
Sure. Anybody else questions on that one? Good. All right, let's do one more problem. Okay, so Philips is growing. They're going to grow at 25% for 3 years, and then they're going to fall off to 5% thereafter. Thereafter means forever. Required return is 12%, and the company just paid a dividend of $3.10. If we just paid a dividend of $3.10, when is that? What? That's D sub what? Jamie, that's D sub what?
If we just paid a dividend, wouldn't that be D sub 0.
Exactly. Okay, so we've got a D sub 0 of 310. We've got a required return of 12%. We've got a 5% growth rate once we start growing at a constant rate. But we've got these dividends for a few years. They're going to grow at 25%. So you need to find the dividends at the 25% level. And then you need to find the dividend when we start growing at a constant rate. Add that to the dividend in year 3, and then discount all of those cash flows back to today. What can I explain again before you go into your rooms? Tom, you good?
Not really, but I'll do what I can.
Okay. Would it help if I explained it again, or would you rather go work through it?
I think it'd be best if you explain it again.
Okay.
I'm sure I'm not the only one.
So what do we have with this company? They're growing very rapidly. So they've got a current dividend of 310. It's going to grow by 25%. So it's going to be 310 times 1 plus 0.25 next year. It's going to grow at 25% again in year 2, 25% again in year 3. And then in year 4, it's going to grow at 5%. And all of the future dividends are going to grow at 5%. So if we start growing at 5% in year 4, that allows us to find the price in year 3. And we'd have to discount that back to today. But we can't ignore the dividend in years 1, 2, and 3 because those aren't included in that price in year 4. So those also need to be discounted back to today. All of that at that 12% rate. Does that make sense?
It does. But
Okay. All right.
all right.
Give
Try
it a shot. I'm going to open your rooms, and we'll pull back together in a couple minutes.
Yeah, I'm right there too. Like 90, 82.
Oh, good. Who said 9082?
Oh,
That's good.
I did. Michael.
Michael? Okay, that's a good start.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't get this at all.
Okay, who is that?
Rebecca.
Rebecca? Okay. Okay, Rebecca, tell me how you would approach the problem. Where would you start?
I don't know.
Okay, so let's think about this stock. Let me draw a timeline. My nice straight lines. Well, let me draw a timeline here. Sorry, my drawing tool's not being great. Okay, so in year 1, I have a dividend of 310 today. So my dividend a year from now is going to be 3.1 times 1.25. It's going to grow by 5%, which is equal to 3.875. Okay, Rebecca, does that make sense to you? How we get the dividend?
Yeah, I got the first 2 years. I don't know how to do the last.
Good, okay. And then in year 2, so what did you get in year 2?
484.
Good. So you got 3.875 times 1.25, which gave you 4.84. Good. Okay. And then
That's as far as I got.
okay, well that's a whole lot of partial credit. Okay, and then in year 3, we have 4.84 times 1.25 because it does that for 3 years, and that equals, what'd you get for that one? Did you get that one?
605.
6.05. Good. Okay, so that's when it's all growing at a constant rate. After that, that's when it's growing at a constant rate of 25%, but it's only doing that for 3 years. So then what we have is that we have, beginning in year 4, it's going to start growing at a rate of 5% forever. So now we know that beginning in year 4, which gives me a price in year 3, the P3 is equal to the 6.05 times 1.05, the constant growth rate, divide that by the required return of 12% minus the 0.05. So we have to use that formula, and that's going to be equal to a 90.86. Okay, does that make sense to you up to this point? So we had a dividend of 310, which we already got, so that's not part of the stock price anymore. A year from now, the dividend's going to be 38.75. A year from then, it's going to be 484. A year from then, it's going to be 605. And then we start growing forever at the same rate.
Okay.
And when we start growing so if we start growing forever at the same rate in year 4, that gives me a price in year 3. So now what I have to do is figure out what all of those things are worth today. So how do we do that? We take this darn thing will not annotate for me.
I actually have a question. Wouldn't that be the price in year 4?
No, because the constant growth rate starts in year 4, which gives me the price the year before it. So if it grows at a constant rate in year 12, it gives me the price in year 11. In this case, it grows at a constant rate in year 4, so I get a price in year 3.
Is that 90.82 or 90.86?
Sorry, it's 90.82. Thanks.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Okay, so now I've got to figure out what this 38.75 is worth today, discounting at 12%. I've got to figure out what this 484 is worth today, discounting at 12% for 2 years. I've got to find this 605 discounted at 12% for 3 years, and I've got to find this 90.82. Of course, it's going to freeze on me now. 90.82, also discount it back to today at 12%. So you have to look at all of the cash flows associated with this stock. And the cash flows are a high dividend in year 1, a high dividend in year 2, a high dividend in year 3, and it's dividends in year 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But all of those future dividends are encapsulated into the price in year 3 because all of the future dividends are going to be 5%. So really we're doing a series of different present value formulas. 3.875 discounted, what's the present value of that? 12% for 1 year. 484, present value of that for 2 years at 12%. And then I can add together this 605 and the 90.82. I could add those together or I can do them separately, but they're both occurring in year 3. So I'm going to find all of those present values in today's dollars to figure out what this project is worth. Okay, Rebecca, what can I explain now?
You do the present value of the 388, 484 numbers.
Yep. Yeah. So
And what years? Yeah. Do you do 0 at the 388?
Okay. So the first one, this 3.875 is a year out, discounted back to today. The 484 is discounted for 2 years back to today. The 605 is discounted for 3 years back to today. And the 636, the only reason we calculated that was to put it in this formula over here and come up with this 90.86. So the cash flows that we're interested in are these 3 plus the 90.86. And when I put this into the formula, I have a cash flow in year 1 of 3.875, in year 2 of 4.84, and then in year 3 I have the supernormal growth dividend of 6.05 and that terminal value of and the price using the dividend growth model formula of 90.8. I believe it's 90.82. Did I put 90.86? Oh, sorry, it's 90.86. Sorry about that. To come up with a cumulative cash flow in year 3 of 96.91. I discount all of those back to today, and I get 76.29. That's the last problem in this chapter. That's the end of anything in this chapter. Would it help if I send you, you don't have homework due in this chapter for a while because I accumulated, I put several of them together. Would it help if I give you no more difficult problems, but a couple of additional problems to work on this week to see how you're doing with this concept? It seems like everybody's struggling with this a little bit more than we have with most things this semester.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to send you a few problems of the different types to practice, and then we'll start with those. We're asynchronous next time, so I'll post a video that also works through the problems so that you'll have those answers to go over once you've looked at the problems. This is no different than anything we've done before. The dividend formula is a little bit different, but you're doing the same thing we were doing with NPV. You're figuring out what cash flows are worth at a particular point in time. It's getting accustomed to how the mechanics of this work and sort of your timelines become really important. So I'll go ahead and send you a few more problems to work on to practice.
Can you unlock problems in the like the homework section? Because they actually kind of give you a walk. You can't add any more in there, can you?
I can give you some problems there in that homework section, and then I can give you the answers to them. I'm not allowed to send you the answers because some faculty at other schools use these as graded homework assignments. So I can't just send out all of the solutions. But if there's a particular one that you want a solution to, I'm happy to send that, and I'll probably pull 3 or 4 different problems from there and send those out, and I'll give you the solutions to those.
I don't need the solution. They help you in the homework. They actually help you work through if you get stuck. They have like hints in there, so you can actually see like if I'm not just getting something, you can hit the hint and it'll kind of bring that up and kind of
I see.
Kind of gives you an idea of where to go.
So unlock the homework so you can start working on it now if you want to. Is that what you're asking?
That would make it easier, I think. Yeah.
Sure. I'll go ahead and unlock it too.
Add extra problems and just leave the homework as is. I don't care which way you do it.
Okay. What I will do for everybody, for those who don't want to do extra homeworks, I'll send a separate email saying at the end of chapter 8, look at these 4 problems, and then in a couple of days I'll post a video that has the solutions to those problems for you to work through, so you'll have a little bit more practice, and I'll make sure the homework is unlocked so that if you want to start working on the homework, you can do that as well. Good? Okay. Here's the good news. So next week we're asynchronously online. Tom's going to send me a video, I'll send it to you, and we'll do a forum discussion on what happened in the news this week. You're going to do chapter 12 and 13. It's just about maybe a 30-minute video of me talking about some theory. There's no problems in chapters 12 and 13. It's just the theory on how we get to valuation later on. When we come back together, we're going to do chapter 7. You already know how to do everything in chapter 7. There's nothing hard about bonds. It's not anywhere nearly as tricky as this. It's kind of my let's take a breath chapter. So chapter 7 is a nice, easy chapter. And then chapter 14 is put everything together. So you practice everything we've done up to now, put it all in one big problem. So you are, after this chapter, you really are through almost everything in finance. It's just put it all together is the only piece that we still have left. So doing a little bit more work on chapter 8 will help you with chapter 14 because the logic of when cash flows are occurring continues to be important as we move forward. Any questions before we wrap up for tonight? Okay, if you haven't provided Dana with feedback yet for peer evaluation, please do that and watch for an email from me, probably later this evening with some homework problems to look at in chapter 8. They're optional. You don't have to do them. They're very much for your benefit to do a little bit more practice. Good? You guys have a good week. I'll see you asynchronously next time. I'll see you in person on April 8th. See you guys. Have a good evening.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, you too.